All right, so here's my Miata. So I'm going to talk about the ride height. So basically, the numbers I'm going to talk about is center of wheel to to the uh, to the fender here, right? Center of wheel up to the fender. So I think the factory ride height is somewhere between 14 and a half to 14 and 3/4, and the front and rear is a little bit, it's not exactly the same. I think it's about a quarter inch or so difference, and I believe the rear is a quarter inch higher if I can remember right. But that's a while ago since I had the factory set up. So you watch my videos, you know that I have the Olin's coilovers. I've been running those over a year now, few months over a year now. Well, maybe more than a few months over a year. It's probably like how long has it been now? Maybe a year and 4 months maybe. I think I put them on in 2004, like November or October of 2018. So it's been like a year and 4 months or so. And through that past year, I've been playing around with all kinds of settings on the Olins, and I'm pretty much set on everything already now. And this is for street use, not any type of track or autocross or competition at all. It's just street use, focusing on driving in the mountains. That's what I got this car for. So here with the ride height. Previously, I've been leaving. When I first got this, I was playing with the ride height. I was leaving it at, I think, around 13 and a half or 13 and 3/4, somewhere around there. And more recently, I was leaving it at 14, and I did that for both front and back. And one thing with the ND Miata is that you do not want the front and back to have the same ride height. It just doesn't feel right. Driving it around, doesn't matter what height I had it at. If I had it both at the same height, it didn't feel right. It feels best with about, at least for my style of driving and the roads that I drive. It feels best when the ride height is about a quarter inch difference between the front and back, and the front or the back being a quarter inch taller than the front. So right now I have it at 14 inch in the back and about 13 and 3/4 in the front. And the reason why I have it such a tall ride height is because I want to make sure that I have enough ground clearance where I don't scrape nothing. Again, this is solely for street use, no closed course stuff. So I want to have it to be basically usable. When I had it a little bit lower, even though it was not that much lower, it was like there was a few spaces here and there that I would need to scrape the front lip, my front lip, when I went up like a steep driveway or whatever, or potentially even scraping the underside of behind the back wheel, so those are the two spots where you were to scrape. The car would scrape either right behind the back of the front wheel, or at the lip in the front. So right now my ride height is I think it's a little bit over 5 inches. I think maybe 5 1/4 inches, and I'm measuring that from right behind the front wheel here. And that's without any weight in it. So once you sit in it, and if you have a passenger and luggage, whatever, everything will squat down. So I think if my calculations pretty accurate, it should be down to about 5 inches, which is good, because 5 inches you're still clearing speed bumps and all that stuff. Because as far as I know, I've never seen too many speed bumps that's higher than 5 inches. And same thing with the front lip as well. Usually those parking blocks, and when you park your car in a parking lot that has the parking block to stop, for where your wheels hit, those blocks are usually about 4 inches, maybe 5 inches, usually. So this is tall enough that it clears those parking blocks. That's one of the things I wanted as well. So the ride height wise, now I have it at 14 in the back and about 13 and 3/4 in the front. And the thing with this car is that if you measure all four corners, they don't match. Well, if you measure side to side, the front passenger versus front driver side, they don't match. Same with the back, they don't match exactly there. They're usually within an eighth of an inch or so apart from each other. Maybe even as much as a quarter inch or so apart from each other. And that's just the way it is. Partly because because you're sitting in the car, you're always on the driver's side, right? So I find that the driver's side actually squats down a little bit further than the passenger side does. Yeah. So so that's my ride height right there, and I think it feels good the way it is right now. Again, don't level out your ride height. It doesn't feel right at all. Quarter inch is good, and half inch is actually pretty good too. But for street use, I probably wouldn't go with half an inch. Maybe you would like competing, like if you were in autocross, you might go with a half an inch difference in front and rear. That might that'll probably make the steering a little bit sharper, a little bit quicker if you did that. But when you have that quick sharpness, you lose a little bit of a stability feel, right? So for street use, you don't necessarily want to have that level of sharpness. I mean, part of that is you also adjust your caster as well. But when you change your ride height, it also adjusts the caster as well, the caster numbers. So that's ride height on the Miata. So I think I'm pretty much done with the suspension setup. I have the preload, the sag where I want it to be, which is about 30% sag. I have the dampening knob where I want it to be, and I have the ride height where I want it to be now too. So all those things took me basically about a year to adjust and play with. And each time I made an adjustment, I didn't just adjust it, go on a drive, and then adjust it again. I would adjust it, and I would go on it, and I would leave it there for like a week, driving all kinds of road conditions just to see how it feels. Then I would adjust it again, and I didn't do a whole bunch of adjustment. For example, if I adjusted the damping knob, I would only adjust the damping knob, let's say on the back, one click only, and I won't touch nothing else. I won't touch the damping knob in front or nothing else. I would do that for like a week. Then each time I did whatever little bit of adjustment, I would leave it there for a week. So that's why it took me over a year to fine tune everything. And I think it's pretty much perfect now for for how I want it to be, or I should say a perfect compromise. Because you always, if you want one more thing, you always give up another, right? So I think it's pretty much a perfect compromise, as far as I could tell, for street use. In the canyons, in the mountains, in twisty roads. Yeah, that's it. All right. Thanks for watching.